Here we go. Another edition of the Quarantine Stream. Salute to Knicks Nation. CP from KnicksFanTV. Or man J. Ellis from Nick of Time Show. Special guest tonight with us, J. Ellis.
Yep.
Jonathan Macri of the Knicks Film School is back in the building. Macri, how you doing?
I can't believe it feels like it's been forever.
Yeah, it's been a minute since the last post-game show, man. But hey, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Let's get right into it. On tonight's show, I want to talk about a couple things. The Fred VanVleet debate. That's been kind of driving Knicks Twitter these past couple of days. Definitely want to touch on that. Also, Victor Oladipo. Ian Begley in his latest mailbag thought that Victor Oladipo could potentially be in play for the Knicks based on the fact that he's had a contract impasse with the Pacers. And then I kind of want to touch on the whole Linsanity week. And the Linsanity week that MSG had last week and what your thoughts are on Linsanity as we go forward. So let's get into it. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. All right, fellas. Obviously, we're in need of point guard help. We have a couple options. Obviously, the draft. We have a CP3 trade, like Macri said, will not go away. And potential free agent options. Macri, you wrote an article in this week's newsletter on Fred VanVleet. So let's make a case for VanVleet, for or against. What say you at this very moment?
Can I cheat and say it depends? It depends. Here's the thing. I think basically the case that I made for him was that I think he is a really he's a unique player in that you can play him at the one, and the numbers last year with Toronto when Kyle Lowry was out, he was out for I think a stretch of like 10 or 11 games, and the Raptors didn't skip a beat. VanVleet was wonderful. So you can play him and have him essentially run your offense, but he's not a point guard. Now, that's a gift and a curse, right? Because theoretically, if the Knicks get their long-term point guard in this draft, then that doesn't prohibit you from also signing VanVleet and playing them together. And then just having, more talented guys is better. I think the issue and the misperception for some fans is thinking that it's just to compare him to Chris Paul for a second. Why would we sign Chris Paul? Fred VanVleet's much younger and is going to cost half as much. Yeah. Well, Chris Paul's not only a point guard, he's maybe the best point guard this century.
He's one of the best of our time, no doubt about it.
I would argue that he is the best of our time. Mm-hmm. VanVleet is a guy who, again, can run an offense. But that's why I say it depends, because not only on the money, VanVleet at 20 million is very different than VanVleet at 12 or 13 million, which is probably what he should get. But also what are your priorities here? What else are you doing to surround VanVleet with other talent? Because if you just expect him to come in here and be a top 10 or even top 15 starting point guard, that's not what he is. He's not going to come in and change your team. And I think the numbers with him without Pascal Siakam, and I know they had some other injuries, but show that. So I know that was very muddled, but it's a muddled situation. It's not an easy answer.
True story. JLs, where are you on this debate?
Exactly where Macri is. He's really good. He hits the three, he passes adequately, but you get the feeling that he's going to want some money, and the production, although it is really good, I don't think it's going to match up for the money he commands. And like we said, if we draft a point guard, I don't want to take away minutes from our starting point guard or future starting point guard, if we get so lucky, to get to VanVleet, who is solid, but not transcendent. But he's good. But at the end of the day, though, the Knicks don't even have solid. But
right, that's a fact.
I guess at some point you don't want to if you overpay, you definitely don't want to overpay long term if you are going to overpay. You know what I mean? So I would rather, groom some guys who are here already, or maybe even entertain CP3 if that's a option. But I wouldn't. I'm not on the VanVleet train.
I would say, my pros for VanVleet, he's a dog. I think he's a gamer. I think he would come here and shine, and I just like his grit, especially what he did with Toronto. You could argue he was the MVP of the finals with that Game 6 that he had. Shoots the three fairly well, 17 and 6 this year. Played well, as you said, Macri when Lowry went down. So I think he's solid defensively. I think he's a plus defender. I think he's averaging about 2 steals per game as well. So I think defensively he's definitely going to get after it. I agree with you. I think he does give us that flexibility where, yes, if you did want to still go get your point guard in the draft, you could and potentially slide RJ to the 3 maybe. So I think he does give you that versatility there as well. On the con side, I'm not really a fan of smaller point guards, to be honest with you. I'm not 6 feet tall. I'm not really a fan of smaller point guards. That's just never really been my thing. Like I said, he can ball, but I just never really been a fan of the size. And then the contract. The way that the salary cap could be impacted by this whole pandemic could impact his numbers. And I think he went on record this week to say that he was expecting that the numbers could dip a little bit. If you look at the comps, Terry Rozier got 20. Terry Rozier's in the 20 range. You got
look at Malcolm Brogdon.
Yeah.
You have Rubio's in the 17 range. You have Dragic, who's hovering between 14 to 17 on the years. The money, I'd be very leery of the money. I wouldn't hate a VanVleet deal. I definitely wouldn't max him. And
definitely not.
No,
it would have to be less than 20.
That's the thing. I think that it's not. I don't think you like Tim Hardaway Jr. There were moments where. Right up until the day they traded him, where it was like, wow, this is one of the worst contracts in the league.
Yep.
And he was I hate to say that, but there were moments where Knicks fans thought that.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
And now you turn around and you look and he was a 55 effective field goal percentage last year. Go figure. But he was a $17 million player that at times it felt like he played like a $6 or $7 million player. Yeah. I don't think VanVleet's ever he's always going to play like a guy who's deserving of, decent money. But so I don't think there's going to be that huge drop off. And the one other thing I'll say, and again, this may be a good thing or a bad thing. I don't think there's a team in the league that would benefit from simply having a ball handling guard, even if he's not a real point guard. Ball handling guard who could just hit a 3.
Yes.
Yeah. And have a defense, respect him out there, because how many other teams in the league don't have literally one guy that could do that?
Sure.
And look, maybe there's another way to get that guy. Maybe you mentioned Dragic, right? Dragic's a free agent too. I guarantee you he's going to come at a cheaper cost in terms of years and dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, is that the better option if, again, putting a Chris Paul trade to the side for a second? I don't know.
I still see it as drafting the guard and maybe getting a caretaker until that guard is ready. Like ideally to me, that's why the CP3 deal is still intriguing to me. I know the money's a lot, man. The money is crazy.
What else are they spending it on?
That's
Casey. What are they spending on?
That's what I'm saying. What are they really going to spend the money on within the next 2 years? 2 years left, right? At the end of this year,
there's the player option,
he's taking that money.
He's taking
$47 million.
Yeah, 100%. He's taking it. But I think CP3 can really help this team, man. And I just hate to be on board with a CP3 trade at a right cost. Obviously, at the right cost.
I never thought I would be. I swear to God,
it's hard, man. I'm really not trying to be on the CP3 wagon, but if it's not too expensive, you got to do it, Jails. You got to do it, man.
Yeah, depending on the price, like you said. Depending on the price. Like, I'm not giving away a bunch of young guys.
No.
I'll give away DSJ and some snacks.
A couple of coupons for I don't know what. Do they have like a beer of the night at MSG?
Yeah,
I don't know what.
Chick-fil-A coupons.
Hey, listen, Chick-fil-A's. don't talk ill of Chick-fil-A, please.
Absolutely, man. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Do you guys think? And what about the Lowry Siakam dynamic in terms of VanVleet's production? I mean, do you think that's aided it? Do you think it would drop? You know, should he leave? And basically, if he comes here, he's probably the second or third option.
I mean, he's gonna have the ball in his hands a lot. Like, no, I mean, but we laugh. But like, look at Randle last year. Obviously, these are very different players. One's a ball handler. One was masquerading as one for a little while last year, but obviously he's not. And then there's the range that VanVleet has. But like, to take anyone, and I know he's gritty, and Casey, I totally agree with you in terms of like what he brings to the table, and I think that will to a certain extent transcend what team he's on. But at the same time, you can't overstate the ecosystem that the Raptors have built there. Like he's a smart point guard who's unselfish, playing with a team full of guys who, I mean, let's say it, they're the modern day, they are the Spurs of like, we got used to the Spurs being the Spurs. They're the new Spurs. Yeah, like that's the only way you go from but losing literally the best player in the sport, second or third maybe. And they were on
still got one of the best records in the league, man. Yeah, still got one of the best records in the league for sure.
And then you talk about Siakam, like, dude, Siakam might be a top 10 player. Seriously, that dude is good.
Yeah,
it's the new Kawhi Leonard.
There you go, man. There you go. Certainly envious of the culture, man. What do you think, JLs?
I mean, I hate to agree with Macri every point he has, but he's making a lot of
yeah. Blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then. What kind
yeah.
He's making a lot of good points, man.
It's interesting, man. Go ahead, bro.
No, I mean, he's gonna have the ball a lot in his hands. I mean, the one thing I will say is if we do get a guy like VanVleet, that could definitely make a world of difference for us. Maybe I mean, depending on the coach. I mean, with Mike Miller here, we were at like a 31 pace. So just having a guard that can shoot, you would think that's an 8th seed. You would think, you know what I
mean? No, Tails. We always think it's an 8th seed, man. We always think it's an 8th seed with everything, man.
I'm just saying, if you do the math, 30 wins with what we have, no shooting on the floor whatsoever. Yeah. How many wins is he worth? I guess is the real question.
I'll let you know that when the team rounds out. Give me another stretch 4 or another shooter on the wing, and then we can talk. Bring home the rooster. Give me Gallinari or Bertans, because the Ingram pipe dream is not gonna happen.
Oh my God,
no! And let's go.
I wish.
Bring home the rooster, man.
But that is the other component of this is you talk about the 4, and obviously right now it's Randle. You know, I don't want to be like a broken record to anybody watching this that listens to my podcast, because I go back to this over and over and over. If there's one thing that I believe above all else in the NBA is that if you're a good organization, you trade 4 guys when their value is low, or you acquire assets when their value is low, and you trade your own assets when their value is theoretically high. Mm-hmm. The Knicks have obviously always gotten this inverted, and right now they have an asset in Julius Randle that is I can't fathom his value is ever going to be lower than it is right now. So I think part of the benefit of bringing on, whether it's Chris Paul or Fred VanVleet or Dragic or whoever, anybody, just someone that could shoot and open up the offense a little bit, is that increases Randle's value to the point that come whatever the hell the trading deadline is going to be next year, like that's when you then move him. Because I totally agree. Of course, it doesn't make sense with him and RJ and Mitch long term. You can't have 3 non-shoot, or I don't want to call RJ a non-shooter. I don't want to get people mad at me, but like 3 guys in your starting lineup who defenses don't have a lot of respect for.
It's questionable at best right now. You know, let's just be real. It could get better. We hope it gets better, but it's questionable right
better.
Now. Yeah,
because if RJ's shooting doesn't get better, then we're gonna have an issue.
Toast.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie, man. I don't know how you get mad at calling a non-shooter. He's shot 32% from 3, which is, you know, not the worst, but it's still bad. Like no one can hit a shot.
They They had 4 guys in their starting lineup, sometimes 5, who defenses literally didn't guard.
Atrocious.
And they tried, to win games.
We really had the worst shooting starting 5 in the league.
It wasn't close.
Absolutely bad.
It wasn't. I have to laugh because it's like, and they tried to win games in 2019 and 20 with that starting line.
You absolutely cannot make it up. Let's go to the phones. Ari, you there? I think we got Ari on the line. Ari, let me know if you're there. Oh.
I heard something.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Go ahead, bro.
Yes.
Oh, there's an echo. Yeah. So with regards to this like CP3, VanVleet thing. First of all, I would not take VanVleet at all. Hard pass on VanVleet. I mean, how many times are we going to get the third or second or fourth best player on some other team and make them the best player on this team? And then they realize they can't be the number 1 or 2 guy, and then they just underperform. And he would be signing as a free agent, so that would be going into all the cap space. I would do hard pass on VanVleet. CP3 I would trade for because you'd have to send 75% of the salary back to Oklahoma City regardless. So 75% of $40 million is only really a $10 million extra cap hit. And he's a much better basketball player than Fred VanVleet, and he'll make everyone better. So I would definitely do the Chris Paul thing over VanVleet if there's a workable trade, obviously. And hopefully you could give Randle because he's just the worst player ever, and you might as well just not have him on the team because he'd be better without him. So that's what my take is. If you're not going to get LaMelo Ball, make a CP3 trade. Pray that they take Randle off our hands so we can just get rid of him and you let RJ get the ball more. And, Chris Paul will help, with the basketball IQ and just making RJ better, making Mitch better, and, hopefully attracting a free agent in the next, the next summer. If we could show that we can make the playoffs with Chris Paul and that we're a competent franchise, we'll probably have a better chance come the summer also, and he's only on a 2-year deal. So I think it's a no-brainer. But the last thing I want to say is still unrelated.
Mm-hmm.
But, I know with all the Last Dance stuff, everybody's, apparently in the chat, not this chat, but other chats, how much they like Michael Jordan and stuff. I'm sorry. If you're a Knicks fan and you're part of the KnicksFanTV and you like Michael Jordan, you should be ashamed of yourself and you shouldn't even be allowed to, pretend you like the Knicks. Because I hated Michael Jordan. He was the only person that I hated the most in all basketball. And I can understand appreciating how great he was. But if you're going to call yourself a Knicks fan, you should be ashamed of yourself if you love Michael Jordan. That's my opinion.
Hey, listen.
Ari laying down the law. Yo, listen, man. We've had
this convo before.
We've had it before, man. Listen, it's... and I've had people texting me watch this Last Dance, oh my God, this is bringing up bad memories. Sean Shepard, JL. Sean Shepard is texting me left and right. He's tight. It's bringing up bad memories all over again. I'm like, yo, this is 30 years ago, man. This was damn near 30 years ago. It still hurts. Yeah, it hurts, but it's listen, Last Dance is different. This isn't the Red Sox documentary or the Philadelphia Eagles documentary. This is the greatest player, arguably, of the lifetime. You know what I mean?
The psychological thing, too, is you watching these clips and these highlights and these games back then, and the Bulls won, and you're still hoping the Knicks win somehow.
That was me. I just want to say in regards to that point, because I think it's a valid point. It's weird for me because I came into my Knicks fandom I remember the 92-93 season, but I was at the very tail end of that, and I was 10 years old. I wasn't invested at all. 93-94 was my first year, really being a fan, and by that, and Jordan was obviously gone, and it was all about the Pacers at that point, yeah. And then so when Jordan came back, I had gotten to be such a huge basketball fan in that short amount of time, and obviously such a big Knicks fan, but I was like, oh my God. Even at 12, I was cognizant of the fact that oh my God, I just missed seeing the greatest player ever play basketball. I just wish I could see this guy again. So then when he came back, there was definitely, I mean, I was a Knicks fan true and true already, but there was definitely a part of me that was like, I'm just happy I get to see this guy play.
This is the greatest of all time, people. Like, come on, man. It's a respect. Like my guy CP in the artist said, it's a respect. Yeah, you don't like the Bulls team, but
also they weren't a rival in the second run. They only played each other once in the playoffs, and that was during the 95-96 season when like it was a coronation. That wasn't a playoff series. That was a March.
I mean, listen, I like the documentary. I think it's well done so far. I think the way that they tell the stories of, all the characters involved, from the top to the bottom, I think is very interesting. It's more, I've seen most of the Jordan documentaries, like To the Max, all the Jordan documentaries. And I thought this was very, very well done so far. Very well done so far.
One thing on that, what Ari was saying, there is a possibility for the Knicks not to send back that much salary, because if the Knicks decline all of these one-year options on guys like Taj and Portis and Ellington and everybody, then they could just take Chris Paul into their cap space. It would have to I think they would have to get rid of basically. I haven't done the math, but they would have to get rid of basically everybody. But there is a possibility that Oklahoma City would be able to save, a significant amount of money in the trade, which, given the current financial climate, and again, you have to spend a certain amount to get above the salary floor, and I understand all of that too. But it's a little bit more complex, I think, in terms of a financial perspective from them.
Have you seen? I haven't looked up their cap numbers, but have you seen where they are cap wise? Like, I'm thinking. I'm trying to bring the rooster home. I need some 3-point shooting in the starting lineup. Like, I'm trying to figure out, can he shake loose with CP3? They're damn near making $90 million over the next 2 years. I don't know how much Steven Adams is making. Like, I'm curious what the Thunder.
Steven Adams is he's a $25 million expiring contract right now. Next year he will be expiring. But no, it's their contract situation is actually pretty good. They have Paul at 41 next year. They have Adams at 27. They have Schroeder at 15 and a half. And the rest of their salaries are rookie salaries.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying it's, if they traded Paul and didn't take anything back, they would actually fall pretty far below the cap in that situation. I don't know what the salary floor is going to be next year, again, because everything's up in the air. It depends on what's, who knows? We could be looking at a $95 million salary cap for all we know. We have no idea.
Everything's up in the air. Let's hear from Joe from Jersey on these CP3 matters. Joe, how you doing, man?
Hey, guys, big fan. Love your show.
Thank you, man.
I just think to bring Chris Paul in, if that happens, I'm going to jump off the roof. I'll tell you, that'll be such a disaster. To bring in a guy who's making $44 million, who's 36 years old, who's always hurt, and who never won anything, and he's going to clog up our cap for 2 years with a guy who is just going to be hurt all the time. As opposed to, we can get VanVleet. The guy's a proven winner. He's 10 years younger. He's just somebody who can just come out for half the price, and I just think kind of playing with Chris Paul is like, that's like the old Knicks. I'm just getting all these flashbacks to bringing in all these has-beens for like so much money, and also Leon Rose. Hey, the guy's been here for a few months now. Was he Howard Hughes? He needs to come out and tell us what the game plan is with the Knicks. What are we trying to do? It's just he wants to get Chris Paul because he wants to show everybody how cool he is, and this is like why we got Fizdale, right? Because Wade and LeBron thought he was cool, right? We need some leadership here, somebody to show us how we're going to go, and enough of this $44 million for a guy.
It's a lot, Joe, man. It's a lot, man. I'm gonna put you on mute because your connection was kind of bad.
It's a lot of money, but the one thing I'm sure you were probably just going to say is, his impact, I know he hasn't made it to. Anybody listening who has access to Cleaning the Glass, great website. It costs, I think, like $5 a month. Just go on there and you could look at lineup data and you could look at, like, for instance, take Dennis Schroeder, right? you could look at how Dennis Schroeder does for the Thunder with Chris Paul on the court with him, and then with Chris Paul not on the court. And you could do that for every player on the Thunder. Just go through their lineup and do that. Go back a few years. Go do that with any team Chris Paul has ever played on. He has as much of an impact on like doing, like making things better on the floor as any player this century other than LeBron James. It is insane.
That's why it's intriguing, JLs.
It is intriguing, but
it's not as to me. It's not necessarily a same old Knicks move in that you're not looking for him to be the franchise savior. We need him to set the table, JLs. I just need him to set the table, get us in the right direction.
The only legitimate gripe I say there is, and I've said this before, is the injury. Like injury history.
It's gonna happen, and as soon as he comes here, it's gonna happen.
Ever been injury free for I don't know, God knows when. Like he's injured every year.
Yeah, and so, as soon as he got here, it would be bound to happen. I'm
that
sure
would be a Knicks thing to happen.
which is why, like, you could talk to me about different trades and like Dallas picks and like maybe Kevin Knox. I don't want to give him up. We don't have to get into it today, but like the idea of sending out an unprotected, or forget about unprotected. Why am I even couching it? The idea of sending out a future Knicks pick in any deal, Chris Paul.
No. Yeah. No. Yeah. No.
Because you said the second that they trade for him, it's like Chris Paul tweaked his ankle in practice today. We'll see him in June. It's like
look, you can still go get LaMelo if you get the top 3. You can still, if you happen to go trade up and get Kira Lewis, who better to learn from? You want to learn it from Elfrid Payton, or you want to learn it from Chris Paul, who can still play? Like, even if he is healthy, look at the impact that he's had on this Thunder team. This Thunder team would not be the 6th seed in the West if it was not for Chris Paul. Yeah. I'm just saying. It's against my principles to spend that much on to get someone that's making that much money. But I agree, the money has to be spent somewhere. You're not getting the top stars, and this guy could help move the needle for this franchise.
It is the most confusing move in terms of what is the classic Knicks thing? Because you're usually able to see the classic Knicks move from a mile away. This one, it's like, wait a minute, is this a wolf in sheep's clothing or a sheep in wolf's clothing? You don't know which is the thing that is like the thing that the Knicks would typically do, or the thing that, like, wait a minute, is that actually the smart move? And no, it's serious, and it's just there's so much like he's played almost 40,000 minutes in his career, playoffs and regular season combined. That's a lot of minutes. Like, he's going to break down at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
There's so much that goes into this. It really is.
I was expecting him to break down this year, to be honest with you. But
me too.
Surprise. Tough call, man. Tough call. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Let's hear from Jermaine from Jersey. Jermaine, how you feeling?
What's going on, fellas? How you doing, man?
What's going
First time calling in.
All right.
Quick question, man. First of all, before I say that, man, appreciate everything you guys doing, man. There's been a lot of boring times out here, especially with Knicks fans. So this is all cool as hell.
Thank you, bro.
Anyway, back to it. We talking about CP3, all of this rumors and all of this stuff. Break down what the trade would actually be if it came down to that. That's pretty much it. You guys be cool.
All right, Jimmy. Appreciate it, man. Well, Macri, you are trying to put Randle in this deal, or no? At 17? What's he, 15 or 17, Randle? 17.
Well, no, next year his contract is funny because when he signed the contract, there are rumored like incentives in it. I think it's roughly 18 and change or 19. And then there's obviously the $4 million guarantee for the year after that. My gut instinct is that the Thunder would look at it as them, like, all things considered, they would not want Randle at his current salary. That's my gut feeling. So I would not put him in the deal. I think it would depend on, like, again, do the Thunder want an expiring contract of Bobby Portis, or would they rather just have the cap space? I don't know that. I think the more interesting question is what are the young assets or draft assets the Knicks would send back. And I think, Ian Bagley's funny, man. He doesn't always tip his hand, but he had the piece breaking down some potential CP3 trades. I forget if it was this week or last week. And both of them were basically structured the same. It was Kevin Knox and like one of like the Dallas picks, I think, and Frank Ntilikina and like one of the Dallas picks. I think that's kind of, in terms of young assets, draft assets, I think it would be one of those two guys and one of the Dallas picks.
In addition to salary, or no?
In addition to the salary. And again, that's complicated because we don't. But again, does any Knicks fan care if Bobby Portis and Wayne Ellington are going out? No, I mean these are probably guys you're not going to have back anyway. So it's a question of, well, who would you rather give up, Knox or Frank? Which I'm sure there's some Knicks fans that have some very strong opinions.
Oh, that could be a whole show in itself.
That could be a whole show.
That could be a whole show in itself.
And then, but even a more interesting question to me is which of the two Dallas picks at this point is more valuable? The 2021 pick, which is unprotected, and then the 2023 pick, which is top 10 protected. But as it stands now, that may wind up being the draft that has high school seniors in it, which throws it like it doubles the talent pool.
Right.
I don't know, man. It's, again, just like with the player you're getting back, there's so many facets to this that make it so fascinating.
So something to think about, JLs, for sure. Definitely. JLs is over it. He's like, I'm over this, man.
Dude, it's stressful.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
I can't stand. I hate giving up first rounders for little guys, man.
Yeah. Even a Mavs first rounder.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because you figure the Mavs will be good, so maybe it'll be a 30 or something.
I don't. I mean, and look,
bet on KP being healthy.
Could you imagine how much fun it would be to hate watch the Mavericks?
Oh God!
And look, I don't want to wish ill on anyone.
We've been doing it all year.
But can you imagine?
I'm wishing ill, Macri. I'm sorry.
Like he goes down with like a bum something in like the second game of next season, and it's like, oh, this could be a 2-week injury.
This could be the one.
It's gonna be a 4.
Oh my God!
I know Doncic is awesome, but and listen, I'm not suggesting just toss away the picks because there are other teams. Like, I forget what the machinations of the deal was, but the draft pick that Quentin Richardson was picked with by the Clippers was a pick that was not originally the Knicks pick, but they had that pick, and then they traded away in some. I shouldn't curse on the show. In some crappy deal for some crappy player. But again, Chris Paul is a crappy player, so.
True story, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. We got about 400 people watching on YouTube, JL. Salute to everybody watching. If you're new in the chat, leave us a hashtag new so we can shout you guys out. And also throw your cities in the chat. Let us know where you guys are checking in from. We hope you guys are being safe and maintaining during these times. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Queens. Trent is up. Trent, how you feeling, man?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
My first time calling in. I just wanted to say that I look at the Knicks right now, and free agency, I think it would be cool if they kind of just chill and they didn't psych themselves up to get maybe a Fred VanVleet or something, and they could just forget about Chris Paul if he's not taking a buyout. Look at the Knicks right now. Chris Paul is great. He's one of the best point guards of a generation, but, at that price, and I could tell you would just be paying him to be interested in playing for the Knicks. I don't think that's a good match for us. I think that we need to just stick to the draft and get veteran minimum guys, and it's not going to be that horrible if we're under the salary floor, ultimately.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be horrible. I don't see. it's hard to really say that CP3 is taking shortcuts. It's like the X-Man said on Saturday Night, JL. Salute to Xavier McDaniel. He said, listen, you still need vets as well. Good vets, not Alfred Payton vets. You know what I mean? You need Chris Paul vets type at a proper price.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to get that guy to start to turn things around. Yes. And in a perfect world, you get that guy through the draft, which is why, to what the caller just said, if they just rolled with the young players next year and just signed some cheap guys and like won another 25 games, I'm the one who's sitting here talking Chris Paul up, and really in my heart of hearts, that's kind of what I want, because next year's draft is no joke. The 2021 draft. And it's like, I know you can't really tank anymore because of the way the lottery odds are and the whole thing, but oh boy, if there was ever a year to lose some games, under this lottery system, it's next year. 2021. It's next season. Yeah.
Gosh. I'm stressing out. Macri. You ask me these questions about draft picks next year.
Dude, this is all I think. What do you think I think about in quarantine?
Yeah, facts. We're not in the playoffs, Dales.
I don't want to give up. I don't want to give him a round. I don't want to give up a pick. I don't. Get DSJ.
Oh God. Please, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Let's read some of the super chat.
Can I ask that question?
Oh, so super chat just a donation, monetary donation that they make directly through YouTube. Yeah, directly through YouTube. So salute to Mangu Man for sending us a super chat. He says, we're assuming Chris Paul wants to play the mentor role. Well,
that's fair.
I mean, does he even have a no trade? I mean, I don't think so.
No.
He doesn't have one to end up with the Thunder. He definitely doesn't have one.
No, he signed that contract in blood.
Yeah.
He got that money.
Yeah, for sure. Escott, appreciate the super chat. He says, whatever you do not trade the Dallas picks for one of those picks. Could turn into Imani Bates, the best high school basketball player since LeBron James. Well, I don't think, when is Bates expected to come out? 2021, right?
No, I'll look it up right now. I don't think so, but I am admittedly not as up to speed as I should be on the future draft classes.
Bates. Okay. Who else we got? J.A. Athens 77. He's hashtag new. Welcome, J.A. Athens. El Capitan checking in from Yonkers. What's going on? We got Bad Book checking in from Atlanta. Finn Jeffrey checking in from New Zealand, J. Ellis.
All right, cross the pond again.
Yeah,
New Zealand. All right,
all the way across and over.
Yeah, shout out to Elsbeth Wright too from Jacksonville, Florida.
Yes, shout out to Jacksonville. People in the chat are saying Bates is 23-24.
Yeah, that's what I was actually. This again, talk about too much time on your hands. I was on Rivals.com looking at literally the next 4 years of players, and you know who's up there. You remember DeJuan Wagner? I think DeJuan Wagner's kid is coming along, and he's many years down the road. But
wow,
it's a wild world. The world of recruiting these crazy shit.
I mean, look at Overtime. Overtime is probably the most engaged app right now, probably over Bleacher Report, and they basically start profiling kids from high school. That's how Zion grew his brand. LaMelo's got 1 million plus followers already. That's Overtime.
It's crazy.
Yeah, man. Overtime kind of set that trend. Well, but Rivals was around way before then, but kind of Overtime kind of took it through the digital landscape and made it a lot better. Shout out to Josh Arisone. He sends us a super chat. He said, we should know better. No CP3. Run the youth.
Yeah, man. Shout out to 23 Blade. He also says, I wouldn't trade any Dallas picks since it might increase the talent pool of the draft.
Okay. All right. Shout out 23 Blade. Salute to you. Listen, man, this goes against all my principles, people. I know it.
Since high school might since high school might increase the talent pool of the draft.
Yeah. No, understood.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, let's go back to the phone. So we got here. Let's hear from Rome. Rome in the building. How you doing, Rome?
What's good, CP and J. Ellis?
What's good, bro? How you feeling, bro?
How you doing?
Good, man.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Last time I saw you, Macri, was at the watch party for the Dallas game.
Wow.
Hey, it was a win. That's all that matters. Yeah,
right.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, can't, go to the game. Go to the game already passed, but, still looking out. We got, Knicks fans, we got to come out and support.
True story,
man.
100%,
man. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to talk about the CP thing. I'm for it because when you look at it as the Knicks organization, talent-wise, it's all no direction. CP comes in, CP says Dolan's great. That would be good ratings for the Knicks, and then worked on the team. 2 years of him, by that time, our young team will be good. RJ will be blossoming. I'll give up, not before Frank, though, because I feel like Frank on the CP would be ridiculous. His defense is something that we need in the young core.
Now you're talking my language.
I trade Knox first.
You would trade Knox first, Casey?
I'm just keeping it real. It's just, where are we going to look at next year going against KD and Kyrie from Brooklyn? They're already talking about coming back for the playoffs, even if it happens.
They're just trying to get headlines, Jerome. They just trying to get headlines. I mean, there's nothing that we could do to match what they could potentially put on the court next year. So I wouldn't even worry about them.
I agree.
You're better off just watching them implode internally, which is more likely to happen than trying to match up with them.
Knocking on wood.
You know what I'm saying? So
by the time that team explodes, then we'll be on the rise.
Yeah, then we'll be back. That's how it works.
KD's already well.
That's how it works, man. You know. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, man. How about Oladipo? Victor Oladipo is another name.
He's a name.
A name. Exactly. That's all he is right now. That's floating around as a potential because the Pacers in Oladipo's camp were set to be at an impasse on his contract situation. JL, let's go with you, man. What do you say? I'm already out on this, but go ahead.
I mean, listen. Okay, I'm getting a bunch of super chats. Okay, but really love Oladipo's game. Really great two-way player. Somebody I've always loved. I wanted Tim Hardaway to kind of be Oladipo when when Tim was here. I guess the thing is with Oladipo is it's going to cost everything in the cupboard, and I just don't feel like we have enough in the cupboard to do it. And that to me, that's like already RJ and Mitch. And to give that up for Oladipo, who just coming off of an injury, it just to me is like too much of a risk. I would much rather attempt to sign him a year later than trade for him now and risk giving all our big assets up for just trading in our future again.
Yeah, I'm not trading for him at all. I'm with you. If first off, the sample size is way too short. Off of that injury, that really, really limits his game. Right? He wasn't the greatest shooter. He was attack mode. That was Oladipo's game, was to kill and destroy. And listen, his career arc has been very good so far. From Orlando to OKC to Indiana. But that injury, man, you just don't know what you're getting. And now with this shortened season, that's impacting him. So the Pacers are going to want to look to fleece. The Pacers are going to want to look to fleece. I don't think it makes any sense to even rush to look at him unless he's a free agent and shows a bit more resume and show that he's healthy. Macri, what are you saying?
Many moons ago when I was just starting writing about basketball, I wrote for about the Pacers exclusively for, I think it was Hoops Habit. And watched a lot of their games, and it was the season that it was 2017-18, and it was the year that Oladipo, blew up. It was his first year with the Pacers, and I remember writing an article at the end of the year that Oladipo had what I thought was the greatest season in Pacers NBA history because they had a couple of ABA notables, even better than the Jermaine O'Neal year that he finished I think second or third MVP voting. He was that good. He was awesome. Mm-hmm. That said, you want to talk about the move that is the classic Knicks move? it would be trading. This. I mean, look, could he come back in whatever semblance of a season we're going to get, if we get it this year, and look like the version of himself that we saw not even last year? Because honestly, that's the other thing is like the beginning of the 2018-19 season, before he had this injury initially, his shooting dropped off. He was only hitting 34% from deep. Like his numbers across the board were not the same as they were during that great season. So like you're looking him to turn back the clock 3 years, essentially, almost. And could that happen? Sure, I guess. But short of that, I don't think it's a conversation. I think see where you're at when he becomes a free agent, and who knows? Maybe he's a guy that other teams are like that. To me, is a more interesting discussion. Is like, let's say he continues to look like this version of himself, or he would need to show some improvement at some point next season, I guess. But like, and what do you pay that guy? That's an interesting conversation. I would not give up big assets for him, though.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't give up big assets for him at this point. No way. But no, you're right, man. Listen, he had a monster year. That I think it was 2017. You said, right? An all-star year.
17, 18. All NBA.
All NBA. That was his time, man. But that injury is it's just no telling if he'll ever come back to the original Oladipo. And then if that's the case, that's a bias. As you said, typical Knicks move would be to make an Oladipo trade. So I'm out on that. Let's go back. You want to say something, JLs?
Yeah. Super chat from Bad Book One. We sent the super chat. $10. Says, salute to all Knicks fans. I take CPP to help the youth. By the way, my mom is recovering from the virus.
Great.
Thanks for the love from the Knicks fans. So shout out to you, Bad Book One. Shout out to Mom Dukes. Hope she's doing better. And yeah, salute, man.
Salute, man. Salute to Bad Book One. Salute to DJ's man, 757 Hampton in the building. What's going on? Also, I want to shout out Travis. Travis sends us a $2 super chat as well. So salute to Travis. And thank you very much. All right, back to the phones. Yo, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, one more too. The New York sports guy sends a $5 super chat. Says, why give up the farm for CP3 when we can get Conley and free agency to do the same?
He said
Yes, he said Mike.
Mike Conley in free agency next summer. Because Mike Conley's not a free agent this year.
He's not a free agent.
And I don't think he has the same impact either. Like he kind of felt like he was trying to find his way on Utah this year.
He's had a rough year in Utah. But it's been better of late. But again, like it just. But I think that goes to the larger point of like, it doesn't. I know we're all antsy, and I'm as antsy as anybody. Trust me, I get it. But like, it doesn't. This year doesn't need to be the year, where anything happens really. Because and again, there is logic to not winning a lot of games this year, and I know that's not. I know no one wants to hear that, and I don't even want to say it, but. It's a thing. It's a thing that they could do.
Yeah,
I agree.
Travis's question is: do you think we will bring back Peyton and trade Randle? What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about picking up? Would they pick up Peyton's option? And would they definitely trade Randle? When I had Berman on, he thought that trading Randle is a good possibility. Peyton, I'm not so sure. Bringing back Peyton, I'm not so sure. I guess it all depends on what moves you make. Like, if you go make the Chris Paul trade, then, yeah, I think Peyton's gone, or depending on what you do in the draft. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
JLS, what do you think?
That's what I was thinking. I'm thinking if you're bringing Chris Paul here, then Peyton is definitely gone. But I don't think Peyton is, I don't think Peyton is gone right away, though. Like, I think I don't know, man. You all know, like, Scott likes Peyton, so I'm not so sure that it's like a done deal for Peyton to be gone. He's there's been a few times this season where we thought he was an answer. He played pretty well, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the guys felt the same way, even though we do need shooting. So I'm not sure if they feel like we do, and they want to get rid of Peyton.
It really comes down to, again, what are their incentives as a team? Because to play the style, like I'm okay with keeping Peyton and playing him as a backup, as like, because here's the thing: when him and Randle were on the floor together, this is insane, but it is true. If you factor out garbage time, which cleaning the glass does, like Knicks outscored their opponents when those two guys shared the floor, which is insane, but it's true. And like, he was good, but at the same time, what's the point of trying to of spending more time having an offense that doesn't resemble a modern NBA offense where there's 4 guys on the floor at least who can't shoot, because if they don't have a spacing 5 and Randle does not space the floor and Peyton doesn't space the floor and RJ, it's like, what are your priorities? That's really what it comes down to. What are your priorities? Are you really, last year was so much, and I get frustrated when I talk about this. They paid lip service to development, but you can't just say we care about, building from within and all this nonsense, and then put your young guys on the floor and play a brand of basketball that doesn't resemble the modern game and that it's not suited to their talents. It's not going to make them better.
I wanted to see more Peyton on the second unit helping Knox and with Portis. I wanted to see what that would have looked like, especially his impact on Knox, because I think that definitely was part of Knox's setback, was not really having that guard that could really set him up, well with the second unit.
I'd like to see Knox play some minutes without Bobby Portis.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not any shade on Portis, because he was actually good with that unit with Mitch and Frank and whatever shooter they had at the 2.
Ellington, Bullock,
whoever. Dot was in there for a hot minute. Yeah. Free Dot. Happy birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday, Dot.
And Chris Paul.
Yeah.
So, yes, and Chris Paul.
For greatness. Born the same day. Look at
that. But could we get Knox opportunities to actually maybe do some stuff on the floor again?
Can we?
I'd love to see it, man.
We did it. We did a show with CK2K. We talked about the best 21s, and out of all the 21s, that was the only one who averaged double digits when given the minutes. But he just never seemed to get the minutes. Just give the man some minutes, man. Give the man some minutes. I feel like he can average at least 13, 14 a game if he actually gets consistent minutes and give you defense.
I haven't given up hope on re-signing Dot.
I haven't. I hope they do. I hope they do, because
I'm playing with Frank.
Yeah. Get that combo together with.
I don't know. The sample size at this point is only 1,000 minutes on one of the worst teams in the league, and yet when those two guys play together, they outscore teams. It's insane.
Again, on the Randle, I'm not trading Randle low. I'm not selling low on Randle. I don't think it makes sense. I think if you do that, where the hell is the production going to come from? Even though he didn't help the team win a lot of games, where are you going to get that production from? You trade Randle. You lose Randle, you potentially lose Portis. Where's your scoring going to come from? Where's your shooting going to come from? At the 4 spot. Unless you bring the Rooster home. Unless you bring the Rooster home in a tandem deal, man.
You could also there are stopgap options available. I mean, they're names that people are not going to want to hear, but I'll just toss one out because I'm going to write about him a little bit on Friday. But Marvin Williams is a free agent.
Oh,
no, what I'm saying, but if you just need, if you need someone at a minimum salary, to step in at the 4 and play 15 minutes a game. And just stand in the corner. That's literally all he has to do. And guess what? He did when he went to Milwaukee. He stood in the corner and shot 3. 70% of his shots came from 3. Right. That's different than, you talk about Bobby Portis. Listen, Bobby Portis won them some games, scored a lot of points. He also monopolized way, way, way more of the offense than he had any right to on a team that was not competing for anything. I would rather have a guy that everybody rolls their eyes at, but knows his role and doesn't try to, post guys up and look like, primetime Hakeem Olajuwon, then, then Bobby Portis back on the team. That's just me.
What if you bring back Marcus Morris at the 4?
If you're trading Randle, I would do it. I don't think Dolan would do it, but I would do it.
I probably wouldn't because I think he wants to get paid, and I bet you somebody does it. Yeah. And I don't want to be the team that does
who knows though? Because I mean, his production on this Clipper team, by nature of his role is diminished on this team. You know, he's the fourth or fifth option on this team. We don't even know if they're gonna finish the season out. Who knows? Who knows what the market could be for Mook? You know, going into this thing.
And the cap going down. Yeah, I feel like with the cap going down, there might be a lot of 1-year deals.
A lot of betting on yourself.
A lot of 1-year deals coming up.
Yeah, a lot of short-term deals. So, never know. All right, let's bang out these phone calls. JJ from Brooklyn's up. JJ, how you doing, bro?
How's everyone doing tonight?
Good, man.
What's up, JJ?
How you feeling, bro?
Good. I just wanted to actually make 2 quick points. One was with Perry being basically a lame duck GM now. I'm just really concerned that he's going to say, if he doesn't win a lot of games this year, he knows he's probably gone. So you're going to say, forget the rebuild, forget the draft picks. I'm going to trade the picks and young players and try and get established players in here that probably won't be the right players to get. And then one quick point on free agency. I know you were saying CP about Gallinari, but he's so injury prone. If you look at his, games played every year, he's only played over 70 games once. You gotta, if you sign him, you gotta take away at least 20 games that he's gonna be missing easily. To me, the 4 to get would be Bertans. If you could get a Bertans and then like a Malik Beasley at the 2, to me that would be a really good off season. Then you got your point guard in the draft, whoever it may be. I'm just scared to give Gallinari a big contract.
Yeah. I like that. It's fair points. Fair
points. Bertans is gonna. You want to talk about a guy who I don't care how much the cap goes down. That dude's getting paid.
He's getting paid.
Bertans.
Well, from what I've been reading, it's around 15.
Yes.
From what I read, around 15. So I mean, that's Portis territory.
We've
been around that block already.
Yeah. Well, it's 15. It's going to be for years too.
Yeah. Multiple year deal for sure.
And again, it's like it's always interesting, these conversations about what are guys worth, because it's like there's yes, he probably might be the best shooter in the league, but that's all he is. That's all. And if you're building your team the right way, but again, are we even having conversations about building the Knicks the right way, or are we just having conversations about like we need to spend our money on something over the next 2 years because no one else is coming here, and like we just want to make it a competent basketball environment for the young kids that are here. So it's an interesting conversation to have. What was the guy's first point? He was saying something about Perry as a lame duck.
Yeah, he was thinking basically as a lame duck that he would basically, sabotage the kids, go with more of a win now move to try to save his job.
I don't think Rose is letting him do that.
I don't see him having all that type of power.
One thing I think I'd mentioned in the newsletter, but I'll say it here. Someone who is very, very, very familiar with the inner workings of the Knicks was like, listen, he doesn't always get it right, but Scott Perry, his draft process is really good. It's very sound. It's organized. And the more I've thought about it, that's the reason he's still here, is because he's done this. He's been around for 20 years. Like, he has they have systems in place that, during this time, it's valuable. I don't know how much decision making Scott Perry's going to be doing.
Right. That's my thing. And that's why I wasn't really against it. I know you were steadfast against it, Macri, but to me, if it's helping Rose get it together with the combination of Aller and whoever else they're going to bring in to shake things up, as you said, he has his draft team in place. He has his scouts already in place. They've already done their homework. Keep that infrastructure in there. Help Rose get acclimated to putting that front office together. And then let's see at the end of the season or at some point, if Rose feels comfortable with him, do they move forward or does he make his move? But I didn't mind it for the interim to keep Perry to run the draft along with Rose.
I don't want to keep him Perry. I just didn't want. I thought you could get another person from an outside organization with the carrot of Knicks GM as a title that someone can get, and keep Perry aboard as whatever director of scouting. That was my only point. We don't need to like go into it, but I'm just always about trying to get more intelligent people in your building, and that's I thought maybe a missed opportunity. That's all.
Yeah, when it comes to the draft too, it's like you said, I feel like he's more prepared. I feel like this year, more than anything, where there's not probably gonna be a combine. Who knows? You're gonna have to really lean on, your research.
Yeah.
If you wasn't researching before, it's gonna be hard to turn it on right now. So I feel like it was a good move to keep Perry just because of that notion. He seems like he just does his research, and the Mitchell Robinson pick for me was like a good indicator of that. And hopefully he can repeat that this season.
It's the best when you consider where he was taken. I don't know. You could probably argue it's the best Knicks draft pick since Patrick Ewing. I mean, I know KP was taken, but he was the fourth pick, and he was most people had him at 4. Yeah,
value at the pick wise. I would think so.
Although Spencer still says that Iggy's will be the best one, and I asked him over Mitch, and he paused.
Spencer's
he loved Iggy. I remember him that night was all about Iggy.
Well, Schwinney was the one that put us on the Iggy when we did our draft show.
That's right.
We were talking about sleepers, and Schwinney brought him up. Schwinney brought him up. Very next day they drafted him in the second round. So I like having those guys on to talk draft. All right, let's go to the great Canadian territory there. Eiler, ILIR from Canada. How you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good.
I just want to say you guys are doing a phenomenal job, man.
Thank you.
And you guys let Knicks fans like myself voice their opinion, whether we're right or wrong. But at the end of the day, what it comes down to is we all want what's best for the Knicks.
Yeah.
Anyways, that being said, I just want to say, I think as Knicks fans, we're all over the place. What I mean by that is, it all starts at the front office, man. We hired Leon Rose, fair enough. We got Scott Perry in there, but man, we still got to figure out the coaching situation, because the coach has got to be like, listen, I need this. This is the system. This is the plan, and go from there. We're talking about VanVleet. We're talking about Oladipo, Chris Paul, but without forming a system with those main guys, how are we going to get anything done?
Absolutely true, man. We are operating with no true coach in place. But tonight we're hearing that we've just been hearing the Tibbs. The Tibbs rumors have been, Macri, you came out with it. Said 95%. Berman thinks he's a hot candidate. Everybody basically thinks Tibbs is the one. So I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see when the time comes what Rose wants to do.
It's still. I would be surprised if it was anyone else. But that said, I'll say this. I hope I'm wrong, just for this reason, because, and again, not to say that something being done for maybe not the right reasons is necessarily the wrong move. I don't know if that makes any sense, but if they bring in Tibbs, you feel like you know why they're bringing him in, right? Because there's history, because he's a name, because they feel like he could handle the media. And I'm not downplaying how serious the demands of the Knicks head coach are, to have to face the music every day, so to speak. But I struggle to imagine they're making that hire because they think he is the very best person to coach a young team that needs developing. And that's not to say that he hasn't done well developing young players in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, friggin' Jimmy Butler came up under Tibbs. Zach LaVine, Zach LaVine. I mean, I know Zach LaVine, say what you want about what type of player he's turned into, but Zach LaVine swears by Tibbs and how much leeway he gave him to play the point guard position when he was first in Minnesota. Like, but I don't know. I don't, his stuff, is it outdated or not? I don't know.
Hard to tell, man.
I just hope they do their due diligence.
Yeah.
Like if they if they really think he is the best coach for the job, by all means hire him. I don't know.
If it's for those reasons that you think, I think it would be horrible, because for those same reasons, that's why I want Mike Miller. You know, if it was that reason, because I think he handles himself well. I think he flies under the radar. He's an X's and O's guy. That's all he cares about, and just keeps it pushing. But if that's what they want with Tibbs, and I even heard like Stephen A. You know, he's mentioned the Mark Jackson stuff, and they need someone to represent the brand and all that. And you know, I'm just not there. I need someone that's gonna push this team forward, develop the youngsters, and just be part of that stability, man. We need stability. You know, Rasheed Wallace went on FAN Malusa's show, and he didn't blame Dolan. You know, he says, you know, it's hard to build a team when you're changing the coach every 2 years.
What's the system? What's this like? Mills and Perry, they talked about when they were here, like, oh, we went and watched a Laker game one day, and we're like, wow, we really need to get more athletic. Okay, great. Every Knicks fan could see that.
Yeah.
That athletic is not a system. And I think they went into last summer being like, oh, if we just get a bunch of athletes, you know, by osmosis, everything's going to fall into place. And obviously that didn't happen. Like, just get a coach who believes in something. And I'll say this about Tibbs. Tibbs, he believes in he has thought this out. I mean, if you listen to his comments from Sloan, the conference that MIT runs, analytics conference, like, he thinks about this stuff. He's really in depth. He will have a plan, as opposed to, I hate to throw Fizdale under the bus, but like, you know.
Yeah.
I'll say this, man. Dolan, like, I agree that, you know, people still might. I mean, I hope people come here despite Dolan, but I don't have this notion that Dolan is just like 100% has nothing to do with why we haven't been winning. Like,
of course he has.
The very fact that Steve Mills has been here for so long, and he's been a part of every losing season for the Knicks in the last 15 years tells you something. And like, he's not here, and Steve Mills is not here because, you know, because he's proven him. He's here because he knows Dolan. Like, so it's like there's certain things that Dolan has done where certain people he's kept around, some people he's hired, that's kept him from going to a certain level. Now, I know his intentions are good. I know not everything is his fault, but I do feel like Dolan has a large, stock in why this franchise hasn't gone the way it is. And also to your point too, like, at the same time, the coaching, the Fizdale hiring, I was definitely on board with it, but it really derailed a lot.
We all were.
It really derailed a lot. And I do feel like, as much as the team kind of fell apart, I do feel like they had a decent plan. It wasn't just athletics. They got a bunch of shooters on the team. A lot of them couldn't shoot as soon as they got here. Like, we got Wayne Ellington, Bobby Portis. Wayne Ellington was shooting over 40%. Bobby Portis was shooting over 40%. Reggie Bullock was having a great shooting year as well. And so they came with a plan to stretch the floor, and still somehow, some way, we still could find a way to hit a three. And so I don't know, man. It's like a lot of it is some people aren't built for New York. A lot of it is that Fizdale hire really derailed everything. And Dolan is not 100%, to blame, but he's a big chunk.
I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't be tight at a Tibbs hire. I did think I heard his speech at the analytics conference. I did think he tried to kind of distance himself from the the knocks on him about running guys into the ground and not being a modern coach. So he did touch on, I think they did ask him about load management and managing guys' minutes and kind of adapting to the modern system. So I wouldn't necessarily mind it, but again, it's got to be for the right reasons, and I hope they have that in mind. And
the guy does win if you give him guys that want to be coached. Yeah. And I the one thing I won't I promise this is the only time I'll drop the when I was in the locker room line. But when I was in the locker room this year, and I talked to Taj, like the one memory that will stand out for me this entire year, covering whatever I covered, 6 or 7 games, was the way Taj Gibson talked about Tom Thibodeau, and like you could see he had the look in his eye, like if you give that guy players who will be open to coaching. He wasn't trying to put down Mike Miller at all. He couched it with all the right things and saying Miller did a great job, the whole thing. But like you could just see it the way he talked about him.
Yeah.
So
time will tell, man. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Michael Parker sends us a super chat, JLs. He says, salute to the fellas, salute to the chat and the mods. Hope everyone is well. And I lost the rest of his comment here on this dashboard, but salute to Michael Parker.
All right,
and
salute.
Thanks for the comment, man. Go ahead, JLs.
Salute.
Oh man, yeah. Shout out to everybody in my chat too. Shout out to Lionel. He's chat jumping.
Delano stealing it. Appreciate it,
Yeah,
man.
Delano's always in here chat jumping. Shout out to my guy Craig Williams as well. Raymond Felez.
Yes, sir.
Shavamp.
Yes, sir. All right, couple more calls before we wrap up. Let's go to get my mouse in order here. Let's go to the West Coast. My guy Nick is out there. Nick, how you feeling, man?
Fellas, what's happening, man?
How you doing, bro?
What's up?
I'm chilling, man. You know, just consuming Nick podcasts and Knicks Fans TV and anything to pass time.
There you go, man. Hope you're being safe out there.
Yeah, for sure. I'm practicing social distancing and everything.
All right, no doubt.
So, all right, 2 things. Right? I'm down for the Tibb move. I think Tibbs is a good coach. He gets a lot of flack for being a winning coach. Like the one team in Minnesota, they were in a drought. And they made the playoffs the year he was coaching with Jimmy and the boys. Like,
yeah, first year, right?
Together because of the Jimmy nonsense.
It's a great point. You're right.
Oh, can y'all hear me?
Yeah. You go ahead, bro.
Okay. I know I hear myself and then I hear y'all talk. That's why.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, I'm down for this. I actually like Dave Yeager as a coaching candidate for New York. I think he's cool. He runs the ball. Fast break. The young guys like him. There's no problems, no issues, no history. He's just a decent coach, you know. Why not Dave Yeager?
Well, I thought there was some issues with him and Vladdy though in Sacramento, right? And I also thought that he had had a falling out in Memphis as well. I think that's why he's on the sidelines at the very moment.
But he can coach.
Yeah.
Dave Yeager could coach, and like I don't know, the two places that he bristled with the higher ups, you know, Memphis, their ownership situation for a while. I know they've figured it out, but like there was that wasn't all hunky dory over there for a while. And then Sacramento, it's like, can you ever how much stock can you ever put into when something goes wrong in Sacramento? I don't hate that. And listen, as far as Tibbs, one of the how have they done since Tibbs has been gone?
There you go. So it makes you feel like it's a Wiggins and a Towns issue for the most part, you know. And Butler's kind of crazy, man. You can't trust Jimmy, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, you could definitely look at that. But to Nick's point, you know, they did make the playoffs when Tibbs first got there. You could look at the job that he did with the Bulls. The guys that he developed there, obviously Jimmy Butler, Taj, Kirk Heinrich was balling for them. I mean, like I said, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to bring Tibbs here. I wouldn't be against it at all. As long as we could just, again, let him rock. Let him rock. Can we get a guy here for 4 years? Who was the last guy here for 4 years?
Well, Mike D'Antoni was 3 and 60. Well, I forget Woodson finished the year 18 and 6. So do some quick. Although wait a minute, that was the strike shortened year, I think.
Yeah, it was.
He was here
that
for
was Linsanity.
Yeah, that was
Linsanity. 3.5 years.
He left after all that. Mel came back. He said, "I can."
There it is, man. There it is. And speaking of Linsanity, that's a perfect segue, man.
Can we talk about Linsanity for a second?
Let's talk about it, man. So, So yeah, last week MSG, it was Linsanity week, and MSG Classic, played the whole Linsanity run from the game against the Nets to the game against Kobe and the Lakers, against the championship Mavericks, the St. Valentine's Day massacre buzzer beater against the Raptors. They played it all for Lin, man. But the fan base was still divided, fellas. The fan base was very divided on this. You had the anti-Melo people came back. So it's saying that Melo, it's all Melo's fault. He sabotaged Lin. And then you had the anti-Linners who's like, why the hell are we celebrating this kid and his accomplishments? What does it all mean? So, JL, I'm gonna start with you, man. What did you make of just the whole run, and was he deserving of this week on MSG?
Was he deserving of the week? I know he didn't win a chip. I know he didn't play a playoff game. But come on, man. He's deserving, man. It was such a phenomenon that you have to talk about it, especially when there's nothing to talk about. Like it was a time when the team was busted up. It seemed like there was no hope. He was a guy that no one saw coming, and he was a spark that carried the Knicks, and he played into D'Antoni's strength, which is a penetrating guard. So, I mean, I really feel like he deserved the this little run that he's got on television. It was a moment in history. You enjoy it. He didn't come back. He didn't win a chip, but man, you got to enjoy the bright spots, and it was a national phenomenon. So come on.
I mean, look, they were 9-14 when they brought him in. Again, heading into another hopeless year. They had Shumpert running the point, if you guys remember. They were waiting on Baron Davis. They had Shump running the point and Tony Douglas. Sitting there hopeless. Listen, I thought it was a magical run at a time when we needed it. We needed that magic. It was another hopeless season for the Knicks. I thought the impact that this kid had, not only on the team, not only on the league, but globally across the world, throughout the game, I thought it was incredible. So I think he was deserving of the week. I didn't have an issue with MSG paying homage to him. I didn't have an issue with that. Macri, what do you think?
Like Jalen Rose, I think always he's the one who screams like, "Give the people what they want," right? Like the Knicks are the guy that has been in 20 years of terrible relationships, one after another. And I don't know if you guys experience this, but like you have something like it maybe was really short, like before we're all happily married now, but like once upon a time, and you get that someone, and it ends for a reason that like the person moved, right? Or like something weird happened, but it is an untouchable, infallible memory. That's what Linsanity is for people. And like I'm like it's like, should we have the argument of well, Carmelo Anthony doesn't get the same respect, and he was here for 7 years, but like say what it is. There's a lot of negative memories associated with Carmelo from a lot. Yeah, we don't have to talk about whether that was his fault or whatever. It's like there's one thing in 20 years that Knicks fans can just have nothing but positive associations with. And it was Linsanity. And I think it's fine that they gave him the respect, because why not? People love them. I mean, it was great. There's never any feeling quite like that.
It literally came out of nowhere, man. Came out of nowhere. And I was I was down in Atlanta at grad school at the time. And when you go to college, like undergrad, obviously you're into the whole college experience, right? You're into the parties, class, and everything. You're integrated socially. When you go to grad school now and you're older, you're just trying to take care of business, go get your degree, and get up out of there. So I'm in business school now, and the whole Linsanity thing is going on, and it's like, the kids that you're in these projects with, it was a mixed group, a lot of like Asian students that were, exchange students and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, the topics is going from business to what's up with the Knicks and Linsanity and deadass Ellis and Jeremy Lin, and all of a sudden I'm like the Knicks ambassador for like my business school, like teaching these kids about the history of the Knicks and what's happening with Jeremy Lin, and that's the cultural impact that he had, and really just turning even the most casual or even people who didn't even watch the game. This kid had him, tuned in every night.
I was bartending at the time, and it was a trip because I bartended for a lot of years. There's only one time where I ever had people like, not that I wasn't going to do it anyway, but like come up to be like, hey, you're going to have the Knick game on, right? Like, that was so cool. And I, sure, they were not real fans, but it was just cool to have people want to watch the team that like you gave your blood, sweat, and tears to, and he was the reason for that. So
true. Well, what I was saying, because it was funny when we had the X-Man on, and after he got off, I was like, name me a player who for 1 year was as beloved as Xavier McDaniel, and the first person I said was Jason Kidd, not even thinking about Linsanity, and the reason why I still don't revere him in that way as a Knick like that is because, like I was telling Jay Ellis, the Miami series turned a lot of people off to him. Even though
he didn't play,
though he left on the poison pill, that was one thing. But to not play, number one, against our biggest rival, number two, when you're wearing the heaviest jersey in the league, and the biggest mistake he made was to say that he was 85%.
No, and it's why he didn't. That comment is why he did not return to the Knicks.
Crushed.
Because that's why Dolan didn't match. Yeah. Because he was bitter and he felt like he,
he's going for the money.
And that was it. That was it, man. I remember I was watching that play. And listen, we knew we didn't have a chance, but I was tight. I'm like, come on, bro. Where are you at? Even though by the time they did get to Miami during the Linsanity run, and they just blitzed them. They blitzed every pick
I will never forget that game as long as I live. It was like LeBron and Wade were like Jordan and Pippen, and Jeremy Lin was starting
a new state.
They were picking. He couldn't get across half court.
Nope.
Yeah. They destroyed him, man. So, I think eventually the league did catch on, and obviously the rest of his career, he was still decent, but obviously he didn't have that same impact that he had once the league kind of caught up to him. And then injuries too. I think he had a couple knee injuries that kind of set him back. But all in all, listen, I have no issues with how MSG treated him. And again, during this time we have no sports to talk about at all. I thought it was good programming, for MSG.
For sure.
So yeah, good stuff, man. All right, that's about it, man. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Let me just get Ernesto in here because he was waiting for a minute. So let's close with Ernesto from Miami. Ernesto, how you feeling, man?
Hey, what's up, CB3?
What's good, man? How you doing, bro? Yo.
My bad. What's up?
Good.
What's up, PP? Hey, Ellis and J-Mac.
How you doing,
What's
bro?
up?
What's going on, man?
Look, regarding the C3, the only way I would consider C3 trade if it's a salary dump trade only. That's it. And the number one guy I want on that deal is Randle. That's the only one of the only reasons I would be consider the trade. We got to get rid of Randle. I can't watch this guy with a spin move into a double team. I can't watch it again. I can't do it. So that's the only reason I would trade CP3. If it involves Randle, say Portis and DSJ, a salary dump trade only.
Okay.
I'm not including picks. I'm not including no picks. Shit, OKC should give us picks with all the bunch of picks they have.
Hey, they got a lot, man. They got a lot. But, at this point, the way they're playing, I don't see them being. I don't see them being that motivated.
Regarding the draft, look, Kira Lewis. I mean, if you guys don't see this guy's going to be a top 15 point guard in the making 2 years from now, if you guys can't see that, I mean, I don't know what to say. In my eyes, he's dynamic. You can't teach speed. And he has speed with control. He can stop on a dime.
he has a change of pace. He has a really soft touch at the ring. He's going to be an efficient three-point shooter. He's not there right now, but he will be. He's got excellent form. I mean, this guy's going to be a top 15 point guard in the league. I would draft him. Any pick from the 3rd to the 9th pick, I would take Aaron Lewis, and I would not look back. And J-Mac, early happy birthday. I just found out. I was listening to your latest
Thank you, man.
On Nick's film school. You share the same birthday with my sister, May 10th.
Oh.
So shout out to you. Happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday. Happy early birthday, man.
Everybody stay safe and peace, man.
Ernesto, peace, man.
Thank
Good
you.
call.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Ernesto.
Happy
Appreciate
early
that.
birthday, too, man. Happy early birthday, man.
Thank you.
Listen, I mean, from what we're seeing with the mock drafts, doesn't seem like Lewis. Seems like Lewis is 17 to 20.
Can I give a hot take?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's my hot take. I woke up on, I think it was Saturday morning at like 6:30 a.m. and I texted Spencer this. I do this periodically. I text Spencer at all hours of the night. I was like, I think by the time the draft gets here,
think he rises?
I think Cairo will not only will he be a lottery pick, I bet you he is higher on draft boards than Halliburton. And I have a feeling that if the Knicks, unless the Knicks move up to, unless they get one of the top 4 picks, in which case they'll, let's take Ball or Edwards or someone.
Yeah.
I think if they want, forget about this like trading up from the Clippers pick. If they want that kid, I have a feeling they're going to take him with their first pick.
Damn.
Wow.
I take.
He's good. He's not Westbrook. No one was Westbrook, but like you know the archetype of players who rise up draft boards. Before a draft, and I know the fact that there's no like individual workouts or it's going to be adjusted. That'll probably hurt him because he's like he's so fast and he would impress in workouts. But I still think he's going to rise up draft boards.
Interesting. I'm still curious why he's still down right now. I definitely want to do some more research, talk to some more people on him. Because I'm wondering why he's been steadily, in that late teens to 20s area.
He won't be for long.
Yeah. So certainly somebody that I'd be interested in, though, for sure, man. But great show, fellas. Great show. Macri, happy early birthday as well. And,
thank you.
Let me make sure we cleared out the super chat. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Mr. Durante sends us a super chat. Mr. Durante says, trying to find your comment here. Can't find the comments because there's so many chats going on in here. I lose the comments on the super chat. But Mr. Durante, we appreciate the support and we appreciate the super chat. Macri, I'll start with you, man. Go ahead and sign out, bro.
Thank you for having me on. Here's all I want to say. It is a testament to this fan base that I could sit here for an hour and a half on a whatever today. I lose track of the days. Wednesday, no basketball, no nothing, and just like flies by talking to you guys and talking to everybody about hoops. And it's just it is a very cool thing to be a part of this. And I thank you guys for what you do with this show because listen, you guys invented this. This is your thing. No one else is doing it, and nobody could do it better than you guys. So
appreciate it, man. Definitely appreciate you guys coming on, man. You guys are always great guests, man. So definitely appreciate all the great insights, and let's definitely do it again. J. Ellis, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, man. Salute everybody watching. Nick of Time dropping a new episode tomorrow. Finally, the record from home version of it. Since we were the only pod who actually met up to record. So the Roni kind of dislodged us probably more than any other Knicks pod. But we're gonna try to do it tomorrow. So let's look out for new episodes dropping and on the channel, and definitely look out for new blogs from my guy Ken on the nickoftimeshow.com, and Ken's been killing it.
Yes,
and
I can.
Yeah, that's my guy Ken. And yeah, man, that's it. Merch is available as well. Thanks to people who are starting to get merch. Also, thanks to Ken for promoting merch and on at nickoftimeshow.com. And that's it, man.
I appreciate it. And salute to everybody watch, man. We topped 500 tonight. On a night, like you said, Macri, we're just chopping it up, prognosticating, speculating, and all of that.
It's crazy.
And driving people crazy with our CP3 dreams. But it's all good, man. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. You guys know the deal. Remember, this show's available in audio podcast format as well. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Amazon Alexa, all that good stuff. Share these videos. Definitely share these videos. We appreciate all the super chats. Definitely goes a long way. But we know in these times, it's tough times, super chats are not mandatory, but there are 3 free ways that you can support us. Hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button and notification bell, and share these videos on your social media platforms. The more people we get in here, the more callers we get in here, and the better guests we get in here. So it's a community affair. So once again, Jonathan Macri, happy birthday, man. Enjoy it with the family. Salute to all the mods that came through and helped out. Delano Steele, appreciate it. Pranav, Marlon Small, appreciate it. El Capitan, appreciate it. JL, so you want to shout out, man?
Shout out to everybody, man, in the chat. Shout out to my guy Fritz, who edits. Shout out to John Talento, Chris Osaccio, Sherman N, Craig Williams, longtime supporter creator, Ring Wheels, Rich Jim, Delano, everybody, man.
Yeah,
everybody.
Man. Kent. All right, people. We'll check you guys over the weekend, man. Be safe. Peace.